Have you ever lost a customer you knew was 100% closed and committed to you? Got any customers like that now? Over the years, I've learned a few things about human behavior. And I can tell you for sure that any time a human's involved in anything, nothing is 100% certain. That's for sure. So that tells me that if you believe that all of your customers are loyal to you and committed to you, very, very often they might not be. The big question is, what are you doing to make sure that they're going to stick with you? What are you doing to make sure they're happy? And what are you doing to make sure that they're loyal? Let's break this down and get real here, okay? I think you know very, very well that if your company were to die or got a business today, that if your customer were to shed one tear, you'd be really, really lucky. Because the truth is that if you weren't on the scene, the customer would buy what you're selling from somewhere else. Now you know this, and I know this, and for sure, all of your customers know this. For example, let's say that you wanted to go out and buy a computer. Let's say it was an HP or a Dell. And let's say you couldn't buy that HP or Dell anymore, for whatever reason. Does that mean that you wouldn't buy the computer? Come on, I think not. So the threat of losing customers is really real. Here's the thing though. I don't really believe that it's the competition or the market situation that's the biggest threat to you losing your customers. You know what I think the biggest threat is for all salespeople? Is the salespeople themselves. I know, you're better than that, okay, yeah. But just humor me for a moment. Just be real with me for a moment here, okay? Because if I'm right, and you're not taking care of your customers the way you really need to, that means you have an enormous amount of power at your disposal that you're not using right now. And I'm convinced that the way most sales professionals treat their customers and, try to sell them is very similar to the way spouses treat their spouses after they've been married for a couple of years. Think about it like this. When you're dating or you're working with a new customer, you're happy, aren't you? And so are they. Everything goes well and the sun seems a little bit brighter, doesn't it? And as time goes on, you build a relationship, and if the relationship seems to work, you get married or you close the sale. And wow, what a beautiful experience that is, isn't it? Everybody's excited and elated and you're all positive about the future. But then as time goes on and your honeymoon's over, you realize that if you want to make a marriage work, or if you want to take care of a customer, it's going to take a lot of work. And specifically, it's going to take time, it's going to take understanding, it's going to take sacrifice, and most importantly, you're going to have to give your spouse or your customer attention. I know, you know this, don't you? Still, I want to challenge you. Are you doing it? I'll be honest with you here. I have been guilty of neglecting relationships and customers and people close to me. Not so long ago, I made a decision, and that was to make sure that every relationship that was important to me, whether personal or business, I really, really took time to take care of. Now, a lot of people ask me, okay, well then what specifically are you doing, John, to make sure that you preserve and keep those relationships? So real quickly here, I want to share with you 9 different tactics that I'm using to make sure that my customers stay with me and stay with me for the long term. Number 1, don't try to sell your customer after you've already closed them. Think about it like this. When you're dating someone, before you get married, you have one type of relationship. After you get married, you still have to have the intensity, but the relationship's a little bit different because it's a different dynamic. And you don't have to convince your spouse or your customer that they should marry you or they should buy from you after they've already made the decision. Yes, have the intensity, but you don't have to close them again. Number 2, keep dating them. It's very, very important that after the sale is made, the customer still feels that you really care about them. Otherwise, I can promise you this, that customer will divorce you. they will look for somebody else, and they will end up buying from your competitors. So think about how you can put more intensity into the relationship after they've been closed. The same type of intensity that you had when you first started working with them. Number 3, call your customer from time to time just to say hi and don't have some sort of sales-related reason to it. This is very, very important. I do this as I travel all over the world. I might be in a taxi or be stuck in a line somewhere, and I'll just start going through my phone and looking at people. Oh, I haven't talked to them in a while. I'll pick up the phone, call them, say hi, and I won't try to sell them anything. I might tell them about some information that I heard about their industry, or maybe offer them some information that might be useful to them. And I will tell you, not only do they appreciate the call and they feel important because I took time, but half the time they'll say, John, when you get back, why don't you stop by? Let's have a coffee because there's something I'd like to talk to you about.
This episode continues next week on Sold. Here's a sneak preview.
Number 7, try to keep the new toy new. It's real simple. The more strength you have in the relationships, not just the relationship as in terms of one, the more power you've got. Now, I don't think there's any hard and fast rule. To me, I want to try to connect with all my best customers at least once a month in some way so that they don't forget about me and they know I haven't forgotten about them. Number 8, determine what it's going to take for you to lose the customer. Now, this might seem a little bit strange, but I will ask my customers straight up, straightforward, what do I have to do to make you unhappy?
Don't miss it.